Welcome back to Julia at Home. I'm Julia. This video is the second in my curriculum series for the years 2021 to 2022. And this is on my son's first grade year. I already posted my curriculum for my daughter's third grade year, so I will link that here. And I will also be making videos for our family subjects as well as what I plan to do with my toddler this year. The baby's just hanging out with me. He doesn't have any curriculum this year, huh? Say hi. He is about 2 months, if you're wondering. A little more. Okay. As I mentioned in the third grade curriculum video, I call this a Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum, and that's because I like to lay out the feast of lots of subjects. We try to keep the lessons on the shorter side, although it's not always the case with every subject. And it's definitely not pure Charlotte Mason, as I'm just not following her purely. So it's Charlotte Mason inspired. Starting again with language arts. My son, like my daughter, has been moving through the Logic of English Foundations curriculum. He is currently in the middle of, maybe a quarter of the way through Foundations B. And so I would love to finish this year. We do about 2 lessons a week. I honestly haven't planned out like how many weeks it would take us with 2 a week to do that, and I probably should do that, and I may at some point. But to be honest, we're just going to keep moving through them at their pace, and some weeks I'm sure we won't get to 2 a week, but that is the goal. So that's what I have for that. My one critique with the Foundations curriculum is that I don't think it offers enough practice reading. So it does have readers. I think it's every 4 to 5 lessons. It has you do a reader along with it. And obviously they're reading words in each lesson for the most part, but I think it really needs extra reading practice. And that's been my experience with my daughter. My daughter started extra reading before starting the Foundations program, and my son, I started, when he started, he hadn't done a lot of extra reading. I just jumped into the program. So I have also added on some easy readers for him. We have a whole collection, and hopefully I'll get to doing a bookshelf tour at some point this summer or fall, and you can see some of the ones we have, and I can maybe show them in a separate video. Ooh, bless you. I have a collection of them, and so I kind of just pull a few out that are like the next level up and let him choose. And the goal this year is that every day we're doing school, which hopefully will be like a good 4 days a week to get individual school in, he will be reading with me. And I haven't decided yet. Like right now my thought is to do a book a day because they're all pretty short. But if they get longer or they're taking a long time, I might limit it to 10 minutes because we just don't want to be spending forever on each thing. And it really tires them out when they're just learning to read. I'm also hoping to move him towards doing copy work by the end of the year. So right now we're still working on writing letters and starting to put them together into words. So that's kind of our next step, is we're going to be working just on the words. So that is what I'm considering copy work right now. But by the end of the year, I'd like him to be able to be writing sentences, I guess, and doing that. He is learning cursive. I've started all my children in cursive. There is some good research out there to suggest that it helps with some brain connections, as well as helps them not do like the backwards B and D and such. So and it's good for, like, might be easier for them to make those loopy motions. So that's why I've decided to do it. Traditionally Montessori, they start with cursive. So I went with that, and that's working pretty well. I think it's easier for them to learn it when they're younger than when they're older. But again, I've started them all that way. So I can't compare, I guess. And then my daughter ended up teaching herself print on her own. I haven't seen that as much with my son. So depending on how he's doing, 2nd or 3rd grade, we'll probably introduce print as well, so he knows how to do both. But right now we're just working on cursive. Okay, I have to move a little bit because I've got the baby on me and he's awake. So I apologize. I'm hoping I'm not making anybody seasick or anything. But okay, grammar. So I may start introducing him to the parts of speech. I didn't do that with my daughter until 2nd grade, so I'm kind of up in the air about it. We'll just kind of see how things go as far as writing and copy work goes. I like to work at their own pace. I should mention that we have already started introducing some of the punctuation just as we're reading, right? Like that's an exclamation mark versus a question mark versus a period. So I think we will be getting into those basics of punctuation as we read and write this year. I am going to move on to math. So I've been doing mostly the Montessori and Charlotte Mason combined approach to math with my son. We were working where we left off. We've been working on like tens. We had spent some time going through all the single digit numbers, and we're working on tens and a little bit of the introduction to the decimal system. And then I had added this in towards the end of last year. This is just my book of numbers 1 through 120 by Kumon, because I just felt like he needed more practice just physically writing the numbers. And I thought it was a good thing to have him do, for example, because I had morning sickness and then had appointments being pregnant with this one. I would sometimes assign them work that their father could supervise, and this was a really good way for him to do that without having to teach a lesson. Just make sure he's writing the numbers correctly. So that's why we started this one, but I think it's great for him to practice writing the numbers. He still has some, he can write them all, but they're just a little iffy. So I'm going to have him continue doing this alongside of our other math work, probably a couple times a week. They're really short, and I might actually have him do, so like each, lesson is 2 pages, usually a front and a back. And there's different kinds of things. So these ones have like tracing and filling in, like these. But then there's often like connect the dots. Let's see if I can find, that's where we left off currently. These are connect the dots. So they're really, really simple. So I may have them do probably between 2 to 4 pages in this each time. And that might be daily, or I might take a break from it when we're doing other math. I'm not sure yet. In addition to continuing on with the Montessori math materials, I will be incorporating more worksheet style math in the form of Math Mammoths, like I've been doing for my daughter. Although I think what I'm going to do is actually print out and put together the bound first grade book for him and just have him slowly work through it. And I will be stopping when we're presenting new subjects to give the Montessori presentation. And I will also be giving him manipulatives to use while using the worksheets. So that is my current plan. That way we will also make sure we're hitting the things that I kind of missed with my daughter, which are like the measurements and basic geometry. And we did time, but this is more like time practice and worksheets and such. So that is my plan for math. I haven't physically printed the math yet. That's on my to-do list. Hopefully this week that will get done. But I've got to find some time for me to sit down with the printer. So we also have some extra individual subjects for first grade for my son. As I mentioned on my 3rd grade video, I require my children to take an instrument between 1st and 3rd grade for 3 years. Then they can drop it, continue, or choose another one, up to them. I just really want to give them that musical foundation. So as my son is entering 1st grade, we talked about what instruments he could play, and he really wants to play the flute. Well, he really wants to play the piccolo, but you learn the flute and then you can play the piccolo later. It's just a little flute. So I looked into this, and I don't know if he's too young, because apparently you need to have a certain amount of breath control and be able to hold the flute appropriately. So I went ahead and I emailed the music school that my daughter takes piano lessons at, and we hello. And I'm going to inquire as to that. If he can't take flute this year, we might do a year or 2 of piano and then switch to flute, which he understands and is okay with. And my daughter takes piano, and I do love her piano teacher, so that would be fine. But either way, he will be taking an instrument this year. In addition, I'm trying to work on some character issues with, my children and myself, always on myself too, just so you know. I'm not just nitpicking with my children, but I feel like working on them with this while they're kids and trying to help them out is part of my job as a parent. So my son does have some issues with anger. And so I actually went ahead and got this anger management workbook for kids. And this is actually, so it's supposed to be activities. And it's actually something I'm going to work on with him. Let me just show you some of these. This is the table of contents here, where there's more, but this gives you kind of an idea. It's talking about what anger is, how to look out for it, where does it go, what else can anger be. So it's learning about what anger is and how to recognize it, what happens when I feel angry, and then what should I do with my anger. So those are kind of the 3 sections of the book. And it's really, I mean, this is really designed for kids, but since he's not super comfortable writing on his own yet, I'm going to write for him because I don't want this to be like an additional challenge for him. I want it to be something we can work on together and that he can really learn. And this will be like a kind of a special mommy and me activity that we'll do every day we do individual school. So my goal is to be working with him on this while my older daughter is doing her gratitude workbook. So that's my goal with that. He will also be doing handwork. He has asked to do sewing, and so I did get some sewing resources, including a video series of lessons from Simply Charlotte Mason. I will have all the resources I mentioned linked below as well, so you can check them out. And so I think they make the blankets, a pillow, and a bag, and learn to sew buttons and such on the bag throughout these lessons. I have some other resources as well that we might work on, and then once we finish that, I might end up getting him one of those kits. I know A Child's Dream has them, and I had my daughter do, I think she did a dinosaur at one point. So I might look at those if he wants to continue sewing. Additionally, my third grader, my daughter, asked to do crochet. So we'll be doing crochet later in the year. And so I will ask him if he wants to participate in that, but that if he's not interested, I might just give him more sewing activities and other things. He also is really interested in woodworking. He is really young for it, but we did get him his own tool, like child-sized tool belt and kit for, I think it was for his, I can't remember if it was for his birthday or Christmas this past year. And then I did tell him that I would let him choose something and we could build it together. The price of wood has been so much, and I had a baby just 2 months ago, so we haven't gotten to it yet. So I'm hoping at some point over this school year that we will do at least one project together as far as woodworking. So that is also part of handwork. I will be doing a separate video for group subjects, but just to list what they are quickly. We are doing history, science, geography, a curriculum of the Unitarian Universalist principles. There are 7 principles. It's things like be kind and we accept each other, like things like that. And I'll do a separate video, if not more than one, on what we're doing for that. We're also doing artist study and composer study, literature, art, health, and foreign language. And I say foreign language, those of you who have watched my videos before know I've been doing Italian with my kids. I love Italian. And I brought up the option of doing French this year. And my daughter wants to do French. And no, my daughter wants to do Italian. My son wants to do French. And I would like to do both. But my husband had noted that might be a little too much. So I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with that. But we will be doing some foreign language. And I will get back to you on what that is. And that is our first grade year, or our plan for our first grade year. Of course, I will update you as we go. And go check out the 3rd grade curriculum if you haven't already and you're interested. The next video will be on our family subjects, so stay tuned for that. We've got some exciting things there. And then I will be talking about what I plan on doing with my toddler. And I hope you are all well. You want to say bye? Okay, we'll talk to you later. Oh, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss those videos, and like this button by hitting the thumbs up if you liked it. All right, bye. Talk to you later.